Qualifying will be one flying lap for each car, cars to run one at a time. Running order on Friday will follow the championship, and in the previous year it'll follow the championship of the previous year, with the championship leader going out first, the second in the championship running second, and so on. The running order on Saturday will be determined by the Friday times, which do not count for the grid, so that the fastest on Friday will run last on Saturday, the second fastest second last, and so on. So a completely new system.
Qui sont les organisateurs du Grand Prix, donc soit il y a la publicité qui est possible pour les voitures, donc il faudra peut-être essayer de penser à changer la date avant que le règlement soit en vigueur, ou alors il faut essayer de convaincre le gouvernement belge de changer la loi.
Globalement, vous êtes content de cette réunion, Jean-Paul?
C'était un peu long, hein.
Et les mesures décidées, elles vous satisfont?
J'ai déjà mangé là, hein. Vous mettez le micro dans la bouche.
At the end of the day, although there was a long debate, there wasn't a dissenting voice at the end, and it was a sort of unanimous from all quarters, all the decisions that came out. And I think, you know, I've always firmly believed that we're in a cyclical situation here. We're not in sort of some death throes of Formula One. This is just sort of needs some lift, needs some change, and that's what we've just gone about and done in a sensible and intelligent way.
Do you think it'll work?
I'm sure it'll work. You know, I'm certain it'll work.
What makes you confident?
I think that I come back to the point that, you know, some cynics might look at it and suggest that it's not enough, but I would also counter the fact that Formula One's been very successful for 20 years, and you know, doing too much might have sort of tipped the balance the other way too easily.
Was the stuff about ballast and changing drivers around, was that given short shrift in there?
No, I would say it was you know, this is the culmination of a series of meetings at the end of the day. You know, we've had sort of meetings going on over the last few weeks and a full day session. So everything's been debated at some length, and everything's been looked at fairly.
And I think it's not really for me to say, Bernie and Max have already outlined in great detail where a lot of the main cost structures are going to be taken out of the business for a better show. And that's what we're trying to do today, to make sure that you get a better show, better excitement, but at the same time contain and reduce where appropriate the costs, because that's the significant factor.
Will you test on a Friday morning? There's more to come.
I will look at the testing. It's very interesting. It's a new concept. Of course, it's a balance. Is there enough time to test in the pre-season to do the amount of things that you want to do? And please, as circuits, more and more circuits, we've just seen the announcement of Bahrain and in China, and then when you coupled with that, it's Monaco where you can test, and certain other circuits like Spa, and then the first three races, which are Australia, Malaysia, and of course Brazil. You know, it's beginning to play into the hands at the moment that it is a fair option to see whether you want to take the full testing or the Friday, and at the moment I haven't decided.
Do you think this is enough, or is there more?
Do you think that will help win public support?
Sure, of course. No, was a positive meeting.
And do you think that the changes will benefit your team?
I think that's not the goal. To be a benefit for our team. I think it's have to be a goal to be an advantage for the Formula One, and not for a team.
On Friday, I can test my cars. 3 cars I can run. It's a good change to the normal testing procedure.
Would Jaguar sign up?
I don't know. We have to now evaluate it.
Is your gut feeling that you would do that?
It makes it certainly interesting to really think about it, and this is what we're going to do.
About the Belgian Grand Prix?
Belgian Grand Prix is a tobacco problem there. Other countries in Europe adapted to it, and Belgium so far did not, so this is a simple problem.
But there are Grand Prix overtaken.
The only reason you can overtake is if you do both. We have to do the cars, which we're going to start on the 4th of December. There was a discussion to come back in with slicks and reduce the aero package, for example. Then you can pass easier. So So there have been some ideas floating around, but they all have to be worked out. But I think you have to attack the problem from both sides, from the cars and from the circuits.
Would you support slicks and lower downforce?
I would certainly, because the only race tires I was racing on the slicks.
Very positive meeting. I think the proposals are good for the sport. Certainly we're going to liven up both practice on Friday and, more importantly, qualifying on Saturday. I think given that if you change just for the sake of change, you may not always get it right. I think the proposals that have been accepted have been well thought through. They will do what we want to do, which is improve the show to the people. And I think it is a little bit of help in there for the smaller teams like us, particularly with the Friday practice and also the points down to 8th. So it's, life is a compromise. We've compromised as best we can in the interests of the sport. And although there may be one or two people that don't agree with everything, I think it's fair to say that most things went through unanimously for the benefit of the sport.
How do you see next season mapping out then for a team like yours?
I think you'll find that we'll provide a lot of excitement with the test drivers that we decide to run on Friday mornings. And, for a team like us, to give you an example, we would elect to run probably in a host nation one of their drivers, if that driver had a sponsor, and it's straight commercial business. We need money, and that's a good way of earning it. So that's a help for the small teams. It also is an enormous help to the host country, because it will translate into seat sales on a Saturday and a Sunday. It will translate into something for the press to actually talk about on a Friday. And it will also, the most important part of this is it will give an enormous opportunity to more talent in Formula One to be shown where it really needs to be shown, in front of all the other team bosses at exactly the same time, in like-for-like equipment as a team's regular drivers. And that in itself is going to make for very interesting sessions between 9 and 11 next year.
Do you think this is the start of changes, or do you think there should be more after this?
I think we've probably done enough, and I think now we've got to run through 2003 and just see how these changes pan out, because, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can say for sure everything we've done today as a group of almost the custodians of Formula One that we've got it right, but by God we've tried, and let's hope it does work out in a favourable way.
So does that mean that that's solved most of your problems?
No, I think Minardi and perhaps one or two other teams probably still have a few more problems to get over yet, but I think what we have done is, as I said at the start of this interview, everything is a compromise, and it needs to be for the good of all teams and for the good of the sport, and I think that's what we've achieved here today. We've put through a broad range of things that have attraction to small teams, attraction to big teams, and most definitely an attraction to the public. And I think that's the thing to stress out of today's meetings, that the day we forget the viewers and the race goers and the people that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch us in so many countries around the world is the time that we are in trouble. And I think today's measures have gone a long way to address the perceived problems, whether they were or not, in Formula One.